Cliff's Dock. Limehouse Private Wharf, January 23rd, 1888. 9 p.m. His conscience lightened from his sins, Professor Blackmore finally rested in peace. His confession was interesting on more than one level. Pushed by intellectual vanity, he had extracted from the ruins of the Temple of Moloch in ancient Tyre in Syria a broken artifact, the Stone of Moloch, which should never have seen the light of day, thus waking something evil which had been waiting to be pulled out of its tomb buried by the ages. Someone was very interested by these fragments which seemed to seal the fate of anyone coming close to them. The newspapers had claimed that all of the other members of this expedition had died in the fire which mysteriously started on the ship as it had arrived within sight of London. But Blackmore revealed to the gentleman that there was actually still a survivor of this cursed expedition. The captain of the ship, Melville Sutcliffe, an old cantankerous eccentric who had found shelter on his private dock, where his ship, the former Red Rum, used to dock before that fateful expedition. Before disappearing completely, the conservator warned the gentleman. He feared that the new servants would try to summon their dark master if they managed to gather the fragments. Used to facing the obsessions of dangerous madmen, the gentlemen conferred with each other for the moment on the necessity of finding that captain before he ended up like his unfortunate employers. While the usual thick and oily rain flooded the ground, the gentlemen, forced to dampen their impeccable suits while forming a wall to enter this grimy dock in Limehouse, were greeted by a strange detonation, followed by a rough bit of shouting. "Whoever you are, go away. I won't warn you again. I won't end up like Blackmore or Turnbull. I may not have made studies, but I still know how to split big fishes. Go back to where you're from. I know why you're here. I hid the rock. I should have tossed it in the Thames had I known. Maybe I'll be going tonight, but if that's the case, I won't be leaving alone." The gentlemen were initially relieved to realize that these foul invectives weren't addressed to them, before realizing that meant that others were there for the same reason as them, and that the captain seemed firmly decided to fire on anything that moved. When one of them allowed himself to note that time would be poorly spent considering the coincidences and the vacuity of things, but would be more profitably spent in action, they all looked at each other speechless, before rushing over the wet pavement towards these blasts which were coming closer and closer.